eating McDonald's anymore. It's because McDonald's is fucking disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. Once you become an adult and you start cooking your own food, and like, dude, you can disagree with me if you want. I promise you, McDonald's is foul, bro. You will get to a point. Some of you will get to not Asmongold. Asmongold will enjoy McDonald's forever. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with his stomach. But like, dude, every time I eat McDonald's, I get diarrhea. I feel like shit. It tastes like plastic. But me and my fiance, we cook everything now whenever we can. And when you're using like all fresh natural ingredients, which really aren't that expensive when you like, meal prep, it tastes a lot better. But McDonald's is borderline, like it's borderline synthetic at this point. There's almost as much plastic in a McDonald's hamburger than there is in your favorite OnlyFans model. Let's talk about it.
In February 2026, the CEO of McDonald's posted
That being said, their Diet Coke, insane.
a social media video of himself nibbling on their newest burger, the Big Arch. When he did it, he kind of came across like a robot. He called it a product, and the entire internet started laughing. This is the company that built 43,000 restaurants globally.
And I want to remind you, I find it very unsettling that if you leave a McDonald's burger and you don't touch it and you just leave it out, it doesn't change appearance for like years. Like, that's freaky, bro.
Each month used to serve 1 in every 4 Americans. And by any measure, it is the most dominant fast food brand ever conceived. But today,
I will say Chick-fil-A obliterates McDonald's. Chick-fil-A, Jersey Mike's. But do you want to know what the #1 fast food restaurant is in America? I don't know if everybody's going to have it near y'all. But if you've never had Hawaiian Bros, this shit will blow your mind, I promise you. I don't know how many stores this place has. If you have a Hawaiian Bros near you, get that shit. Culver's is also gas, but Hawaiian Bros is #1.
it's under pressure.
So good.
Their declining sales in the US are going down nearly 6% year over year, and their core customer is pulling back from eating at McDonald's.
Good.
It's interesting to figure out what happened to the whole brand. Well, that's what this video is about. This is the rise and fall of McDonald's in the United States.
By the way, I made this video in partnership with my company, Near. More on them later.
To understand what's happening now, you got to go back to the very beginning. And that was in 1948. The 2 McDonald brothers were in San Bernardino.
This was the origin of Goy Slop. This is the shit that we've been feeding our piggies for a millennia.
Selling hamburgers. Ray Kroc, who was a blender salesman at the time, came in and bought them out for $2.7 million, franchised it, and along the way created a fast food empire. The entire idea and reason to exist for McDonald's was affordable fast food that was available to everybody.
I will also say, McDonald's is the best advocate for why we need AI to take over certain jobs. Because the fact that if on the rare occasion I do go to McDonald's, these retards working at fast food still put all of my pickles on the side of my burger and all of the sauce is on like the top of the bun. It's like, bro, how are you fucking this up? Bun, patty, cheese, patty, pickles, sauce, lettuce, bun. How do you fuck that up? It's crazy.
It's going to be important in the story, so pay attention. One of the things they talk about with McDonald's is that it's actually a real estate company that masquerades as a burger company. That all dates back to the 1950s and 60s, when an executive with McDonald's realized something. His name was Harry Sonneborn, and realized that the real value and control could happen for McDonald's if they own the real estate and the buildings underneath these individual burger places, which would be
And this is why you will never have a house.
run by franchisees. The beauty of this system is that it aligned interests and gave McDonald's the best part of the deal, the ability to basically be tax protected. The other part of it was the rents would rise as sales would go up at each.
I think that's the one thing that I fucking hate about billionaires, multimillionaires. So many of them are cheating the taxes that they should be paying. Like, I don't believe that billionaires or multimillionaires should have to pay more taxes, but I do believe they should have to pay their fair share of taxes. But there's so many fucking loopholes, I think it's fucking awful. That is the biggest criticism I have of all of the entrepreneurs and billionaires leading society is that there's just too many loopholes to legally get around paying your taxes. And I think it's lame as fuck.
Individual restaurant. Sonneborn would go out and publicly talk about this idea and say, we're not in the burger business. We're just in the enabling other people to sell 15-cent hamburgers on our property because it's the best way we can generate the most rent on the land that we own. Despite coming up with this idea, he and Ray Kroc would have a falling out, and he was out of the company by 1967. But his idea, the genius of it, it stayed. And I think we all know.
What is it about men walking in the forest talking to a camera that just makes me believe absolutely everything that they're saying? One day I'll figure that out, but I don't know what it is. outdoor YouTube videos of just a guy in a camera like, oh, hey, whatever you're buying, bro, or whatever you're selling, I'm buying.
What happened to McDonald's over the next coming decades? They grew like gangbusters, and it was the perfect time to do it. In the 70s, 80s, and 90s, baby boomers were growing up, having kids, and no place.
I remember when white people had children. Those were the days.
Better for them than to take their kids to McDonald's. Remember, baby boomers, they have one thing in common. That, well, stereotypically, they love to work and they love to work hard. And to do that, you gotta have a lot of time. And what better place than McDonald's to make yourself some more time by serving your kids fast food. But by the early 2000s, things started to change for McDonald's. And in 2002, bad things happened. In that year, McDonald's posted its first quarterly loss in its history, losing nearly $343 million in that quarter. The stock was getting cratered, down to about 12 bucks. The thing the stock market hates the most is if you surprise them. They want dependability and they want trajectory, making it look like you're gonna keep doing what you're always doing.
Yep.
Near was McDonald's, a company that had not lost money in its history, suddenly showing up and, well, pulling the fire alarm by losing money in one quarter. As is typical with fast food restaurants or restaurants in general on this channel, the problems that had beset them over the 90s were kind of what you imagine. They chased growth, they let service rot, their menu got bloated, and as the case with most fast food chains or businesses in general when they need to fix themselves, they tend to go back to basics. And they brought in a guy named John Cantalupo, and that's exactly what he did next. His plan was called the quote-unquote plan to win. Don't just get bigger, let's get better. And part of that deal was to bring in the dollar menu, something that transformed the...
I remember the dollar menu, and now it's the fucking $5 menu. Or sorry, the value menu. Wow, only $3.29 for 4 chicken nuggets. Wow. So for $3, you can get a sausage McMuffin, a sausage biscuit, hash browns. There's no way. Hell no. I would quicker kill myself and pay $3 for a hash brown. There's no way. There's no way. That's got to be misinformation. There's no way it's that bad.
The chain almost forever. While the dollar menu was working like crazy, something dark would happen. And that's Cantalupo would get sick and die of a heart attack. And ironically, his successor would get cancer and die in 2005.
Jesus.
It's kind of a rough go for McDonald's. But
probably because they ate their own product.
The turnaround held for the next decade plus. McDonald's same-store sales went their correct direction, showing off one of the greatest turnarounds in franchise restaurant history. As the 2010s came, there was something that was a problem. Basically, the customer base was changing. Millennials were aging up, and the last thing they wanted was factory-produced food, or at least that's how they felt about McDonald's. Chains like Chipotle, Panera were coming online and starting to eat McDonald's lunch, literally and figuratively. And so that's when in 2014...
I really wish there would just be a restaurant that sold healthy food and it didn't obliterate your bank account. I don't understand why I can get like a pound of chicken breast for like $8, yet I can get like 40 pounds of zebra cakes for like 5 cents. It's so fucking annoying how all cheap food is promoted and deals, cheap as fuck. You try to eat healthy. Well, unfortunately, that's just not a reality that you're living in. It's awful, bro. We are promoted to eat goy slop and be piggies and eat farm shit slop for the rest of our lives. It's awful. Chipotle just became more expensive Taco Bell. I don't know. I love Chipotle, man. It's great.
Same-store sales for McDonald's went negative. All of these outside pressures, the changing customer base, competition from fast casual, it was another problem. And look, this was not a random stumble. This is basically 2003 all over again. People get complacent, the menu gets bloated, they chase growth, they raise prices, the customers leave. Then there's an emergency cycle where they come in and cut back on everything and bring back value prices again. The same story, different decade. Believe it or not, they went through this cycle 3 times in its history. And this was just another time again, just like they had in 2002, to bring back the dollar menu, to bring back customers in. And each time admitting the same failures was what was required to fix the business. Except something different was about to happen this time. March 2015, a guy named Steve Easterbrook came into the picture, and he was hired as chief executive, fresh off of turning around McDonald's in the UK. The first thing he did in October 2015 was go for all-day breakfast. So if you or I was desperate for an Egg McMuffin at 9 p.m., well, our prayers were answered.
I will say though, man, one of my favorite things to eat back in the day when I was a kid was a bacon, egg, and cheese bagel from McDonald's. Oh my God, I'm salivating just thinking about it. Bacon, egg, and cheese bagel from McDonald's, and they had this sauce on it that was blow your mind good. And then I would take a hash brown and I would put it on top of the bacon underneath the top bagel. Oh my God. Bro, and the Grand Slam breakfast where you had the pancakes and the eggs and the bacon and the... Holy fuck, this shit was so good. These days, it just doesn't taste that good. It doesn't. I take the bite of the chicken nuggets. It tastes like mush. I eat a cheeseburger. It just tastes synthetic. I don't know whether it's because I'm eating better or I'm getting older, but McDonald's legitimately tastes fucking disgusting. Besides their Diet Cokes, their water, and their French fries, everything else tastes fucking disgusting. Like, legitimately. I don't know if everybody's experienced that, or maybe just because I'm old or I'm eating better, but let me know if you guys still enjoy McDonald's. But yeah, I just don't fuck with it. I don't.
Move 2, and this is an important one. They went and refranchised. At the time, the chain was a lot like kind of Panera in its early days, where they had some franchisees, but they also had some corporate stores. And in this case, Steve went along and basically refranchised 95% of the total corporate-owned stores. McDonald's would return approximately $50 billion in dividends and stock buybacks to shareholders during this period of time. This is a common theme you see on this channel. When there's massive handouts to the shareholders, that can be done. It just has to be done in moderation. You can't start mortgaging the future in order to pay the shareholders today. Move 3 was to start to alleviate a lot of the labor pressures. In 2017, they brought online a lot of those annoying kiosks that you see now. They did partnerships with Uber Eats.
Ew.
And then they also went and bought a technology company, a dynamic personalization company. 2 years later, they would come back along and sell the thing. I guess the burger business wasn't ready for AI at that time. But it was also a stark reminder that there's a big difference between making burgers.
I heard there was a full AI McDonald's in Texas. I need to go. I need to make a video on it, bro. I bet it's awesome. Not having to deal with the shitty fucking attitude fast food workers would be great. Dude, the attitudes of the fast food McDonald's workers near me, awful. It's like they're trying to fight me when I'm like, hey, bro, can I have a Diet Coke? Is that it? Yeah. What? Should I prepare to engage in fisticuffs when I go to the drive-thru menu?
And being a technology company. But these moves all worked. Under Steve, the stock basically doubled over those coming 5 years to nearly $190 a share. But while McDonald's wasn't subject to a lot of the pressures that we see when private equity firms enter the picture, well, part of the ticking time bomb that was getting created was it was being run like a private equity firm. Remember the whole model with the real estate that had been set up back in the 50s and 60s in partnership with the franchisees? Well, Easterbrook saw an opportunity to make even more money from that. That for McDonald's is actually pretty stark. In 2024, they collected $10 billion in rent from their franchisees, which is like, okay, cool. Well, royalties, meaning what typically gets charged to franchisees, was just over half that, $5.6 billion. Franchisees, the way those models work is they'll pay 4 to 5% of top line sales. McDonald's owns about $40 billion worth of real estate. And underneath about 45% of the land and 70% of the buildings, McDonald's owns those things. And for decades, the rent versus the royalty schemes and who was having what risk between the franchisees and McDonald's corporate, that had all been in balance. McDonald's corporate operating margins run around 40%. Franchisees.
I wonder what the guy who was the original Ronald McDonald looked like without makeup. Like, I'm curious about it, but I'm not curious enough to Google that because I don't want Ronald McDonald to be like ruined. You know what I'm saying? Also, do y'all remember that fucking Ronald McDonald Japanese commercial back in the day? You know what? None of you guys are going to get this reference. Y'all are too young to understand this shit. Don't worry about it.
10 to 15%. Now you got to remember how these franchisees are set up. A lot of them have taken out personally guaranteed loans and putting their lives on the line to basically operate these restaurants. And as long as it's in balance, it's okay. But if things get out of balance, suddenly the franchisees are taking all the risk and McDonald's is taking all the upside. As we saw in the Subway video, where it can go wrong, if corporate...
Well, where Subway went wrong was their spokesperson being outed as a fucking chronic serial pedophile. And also their bread not being bread enough to be considered bread. And now Subway's bread is actually considered cake because the sugar content is so high. Yeah, healthy alternative, by the way. Sure.
Besides, they want to juice revenues, more royalties, and say screw it to the basically franchisees. Well, bad things can happen. So as Easterbrook basically sold off 95% of the stores that the corporation had owned to the franchisees, he was suddenly running the private equity playbook, pushing those stores off of the balance sheet of the McDonald's corporate and pushing all that risk onto the people that bought those restaurants, the franchisees. Sonnenberg had defined this model back in the 50s and 60s with the real estate prey. Easterbrook was just figuring out how to transfer it into a lot of immediate profits from McDonald's corporate. And Wall Street, well, they loved it. You see this a lot in these different stories. People, especially management who are only there in the corporation for a short time, are happy to mortgage the future for benefit at the immediate time because, well, they get paid on that. Easterbrook got paid handsomely, and it all went fine for him until in November 2019, he got fired for having sex with some subordinates.
For having sex with the hamburgers.
McDonald's, it fired CEO Steve Easterbrook after he engaged in a consensual relationship with an employee and that of course was in violation of company policy.
You know, I thought the McGangbang was just like a special burger, but I guess it's also the company policy for getting a job.
After he was gone, they found there were more undisclosed relationships, including the fact that he had lied during the investigation. McDonald's actually went and sued and got one of the largest clawbacks of bonuses in corporate history in the United States, $105 million. The SEC didn't like it either.
Having sex with the air fryer. Oh yeah, dude.
They banned him from being a public director or basically executive of a publicly trained company for 5 years. And right as COVID came along, a new CEO would enter, a guy named Chris Kempczynski. And after Easterbrook had set the company up to be on shaky footing and basically at odds with its franchisees, Chris was about to walk into something even worse. When you look at a McDonald's, each individual franchisee, for antitrust reasons, sets their own prices. They're not set by McDonald's corporate. As COVID came, all of these franchisees were suddenly hit from every single direction. Their ingredient costs were going up, their labor costs were going up, their regulatory costs were going up. Not good. California famously would put in place a $20 an hour minimum starting in April 2024. Seeing all
that's crazy, dude. $20 an hour for slinging burgers. And your ass still lives in a bachelor apartment, man. Lock the fuck in, bro. Work at McDonald's today. Fuck McDonald's, they are clear-cutting Brazil's Amazon rainforest for their beef cattle production. Really? Are they?
All of this, franchisees did the only thing they could in order to protect their margins. Remember, their livelihoods are on the line. And that meant raising prices. You can see.
Let me double check. What is $20 an hour in 2026? What type of money is that? So $20 an hour times 40 hours times 52. That's only actually, you know what? 41K a year. That's not too bad. But then you're going to lose about 0.8%. So realistically, it's around, 38.6 after tax. Ooh. You know what? All things considered, you can make 38.6 work. You can make 38.6 work. You can. You could. You could make that. You'd have to live very minimally, but you could make that work. You just have to lock the fuck in. But then again, then that's only California McDonald's. And the price of living skyrockets if you're in California. And then you got like a 50-50 chance of being like raped by a transgender or being stabbed by a homeless. So, and plus, with changing consumer habits, it's like a fucking zoo over there.
See what would happen now. Remember, all these franchisees are operating under the McDonald's brand license. And while McDonald's corporate may benefit the higher the prices go, well, it's their brand on the line. 99.99% of people that go into McDonald's think they're just going into McDonald's. They don't realize they're going into a restaurant that just happens to be called McDonald's, setting its own local prices. And as all this happened into the 2020s, satisfaction amongst franchisees at McDonald's basically cratered. Their national
8% tax, lol, that's cute. Isn't that what someone in that tax bracket would pay? Am I crazy? Am I mistaken? Yes, yeah, 6-7%. No, I was actually pretty generous.
Owners Association started to push back, and they were generally very unhappy. A Big Mac combo that cost $7 or $8 in 2019 would by 2024 be pushing $13 or even $15 at many locations. A study over a full decade shows that McDonald's prices basically doubled. Menu, the thing that had saved them back in 2003, well, that thing was long and gone, basically dead. You see what's happening here? Easterbrook had set the whole thing up to where franchisees basically had no choice but to raise prices. And that's how you started to get things like it happened to Five Guys, $18 Big Mac meals from Connecticut, going viral on social media. Remember,
$18.99 for a double quarter pounder? Oh my God. 1,300 calories and $18.99 before tax. What?
Gen Z, the generation that's now coming of age in the 2020s, they don't just keep quiet when things feel like they're getting screwed. They show receipts on the internet and it goes viral. The thing about McDonald's is for decades it created basically a brand promise and a trust level where people felt like if you had kids and you needed to get an affordable meal, you could take them to McDonald's. It was basically the opposite of what it was like to shop at Aldi back in the day. Remember, people would go to Aldi just because they had to. It was the sign that you were pretty broke and didn't have the money to go someplace else. McDonald's was the feeling that you were going to get a reasonable amount of quality, and it was for somebody like you. just needed to get a good value. But here was McDonald's breaking that brand promise. And CEO Chris basically said in his earnings calls in 2024 that the family members and families that were making under $45,000 a year, the bread and butter for McDonald's, were pulling back hard. For 2024, same-store sales dropped by over 1.4%, and then again, even worse in the first quarter of 2025. That amount was a 3.6% decrease in one quarter alone in sales. The reason? Well, McDonald's had gone from being an affordable place to go get a meal on a regular basis to now being a slight luxury stretch. Basically the Starbucks of hamburgers. That occasional treat where you're gonna pay up like a Five Guys or a Shake Shack, that's not McDonald's territory. That's where other guys win there. So that's why.
You know, Five Guys, depending on who you ask, has a different name. Like, for example, if you ask Ms. Kiff what Five Guys is called, he just calls that his normal Friday night.
In 2025, McDonald's found itself in a,
although usually it's 5 transgender guys,
dead zone. Not good enough to be the occasional splurge like a Shake Shack, and too expensive to be good for an everyday meal. But pricing wasn't the only thing causing all this. There was something else. First is that cooking at home started to get easier and cheaper. People just stopped going out as much.
Legit, just cook your own food. Guys, I promise you, meal prep once a week, your life becomes so much easier, bro. So much easier. Stop burning your money on DoorDash and fast food. You will get so ahead in life if you cook your own food, man. And it's fun. I promise you, it's fun. It really is.
I've talked about on this channel, in a post-COVID environment, the average American is spending 80 minutes more in their house than they did in a pre-pandemic era. We just don't leave. Point two is that fast casual started to improve on the value per dollar standpoint. People would say, I'd rather spend 12 bucks at Chipotle than 11 at McDonald's. You can't blame them. It's a world apart.
True.
Next thing was that a lot
taste better, you feel better, and you have to maximize that shit.
A lot of the people promoting chicken and those types of restaurants, Chick-fil-A and Raising Cane's, started to do gangbusters. That's also because chicken keeps getting cheaper and cheaper per calorie, whereas beef, the cornerstone of the McDonald's business, is getting more and more expensive with her.
How much do you cook versus how much does Sophia cook? Sophia cooks all the meals unless she doesn't feel well or doesn't feel like it or needs a break, and then I'll do it. So anything she doesn't want to do, I do, and I enjoy it, man. I love cooking. I will say she's a better cook than me for some things. Well, yeah, for some things, but I'm kind of a fucking freak in the kitchen. How do you think I got to be 340 pounds, man? I am a damn good cook. My shit yummy. But I got to just be careful of how much butter and olive oil I put in because I love that shit. That's how I got so fucking fat.
It's getting smaller. COVID also went and changed the way we go about work. Commuting is not as, common as it used to be. The idea of picking up a milkshake on the way to work or an Egg McMuffin, well, none of that makes sense if you're just sitting at home working all day. Then the embarrassment factor. DoorDash and Uber Eats and that type of stuff, marking up the prices from McDonald's 40% just to deliver it to you. Well, they don't look at DoorDash or Uber Eats to blame for that.
I'm going to go on my phone right now and I'm going to order myself a double quarter pounder meal off McDonald's. I'm not actually going to eat that slop. Absolutely not. Here we go. Double quarter pounder with cheese. We'll make it a large. We'll get a Coke. And that's it. So large soda, medium fries, double quarter pounder. I added it to my shopping cart. Okay. It's $17.05, right? Just for it on the menu. I have Dash Pass, so I get rid of delivery fees. So all in, to get a double quarter pounder to my front door, guys, it is $24.20. If I did not have the Dash Pass, it would cost me $28.70 to get a double quarter pounder meal at my doorstep. $28.70 for a double quarter pounder, and I'm paying for the annual pass to make it cheaper. Absolutely fucking not.
Look at McDonald's and think it's expensive.
Fuck no.
But there was something worse than all of those things happening, which is the rise of the GLP-1s, like Ozempic and Wegovy. 15 million Americans in 2024 were on them, with a push that it was expected to be 26 million by 2025. Heck, I was even talking to my friends yesterday, and they were like, hey, you should get on GLP-1s. It's easy to lose like 25 pounds. And you know what happened? The next Zoom call I had with a different set of colleagues, they were all saying the same thing. Like, it's happening. The problem with these drugs from McDonald's is they suppress basically the exact type of food, high calorie, high fat, high salt food that McDonald's specializes in. We are wired genetically to want to eat that.
I'm staying away from these, bro. I don't trust them. I tried terzepatide for like 2 weeks. It made me feel horrendous. I don't trust them, bro. I don't trust them yet.
Type of stuff. It's a survival mechanism. But here we're rewiring our brains with these drugs, and it's basically putting a bullseye on McDonald's. Ironic thing is GLP-1s are used proportionally less by low-income people. So it's targeting precisely the type of people who aren't able to afford McDonald's anymore. Recently in a earnings call, Walmart.
Not being able to afford McDonald's is a crazy fucking statement in 2026. If that doesn't tell you how fucked the economy is, I don't know what else will.
Its execs said they could measure who was buying less food by who was going to be on GLP-1s. As all this was happening, the folks up near Chicago at McDonald's headquarters, they weren't sitting idly by. And they saw very clearly, this left them only one option. Before I tell you what that is, QOE.com. Tell them I sent you. McDonald's tried to rekindle the magic of the old dollar meal, except this time it'd be a $5 meal deal.
For a reason to try the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's?
God, they need to stop this because the way they talk about this food and the way they make it look, oh my God, it looks so fucking good. But you know you ain't gonna get that. You know your shit gonna come like this, bro. Halfway out the bun, pickles over here, pickles over there, all the sauce on one side. This motherfucker, I ain't seen a burger look like this ever in my whole life. These motherfuckers don't give a shit, man. They clock in, clock out. They don't give a fuck.
Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the price makes 5.
So much.
That's everything you get with the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's.
$5, you get a drink, some fries, some chicken nuggets, and either a McChicken or a McDouble. Here, McDonald's, after getting off track again for the third time in as many decades, was having to go back to its founding promise of basically good food for a reasonable price. And remember, the franchisees don't work for McDonald's anymore. They don't control the stores like they used to, or at least a percentage of them. They'd sold them all back in the Easterbrook era. So that meant that McDonald's, in order to afford all this, had to go out to their suppliers to help subsidize the franchisees. And here you see the whole problem with the structure. While corporate is setting the vision, the franchisees have to absorb the cost. So anything coming out of headquarters for McDonald's, basically they got to figure out how to get the franchisees to buy in. Oh, look, a deer.
Oh,
So
fuck.
the thing about this park
Freaky.
is deers like this one are totally docile because there's no predators and no humans mess with them. So he'll just stand here and hopefully he'll leave at some point. But yeah, totally crazy. People are products of their environment. What's up, buddy? Looking good. That's a big boy. I wonder how he feels about me. The good news is this deal menu, the $5 deal, started to bring those low-income customers back. And the third time in the 2000s, basically McDonald's had to admit defeat, that they'd outrun their customers and were having to discount in order to get them back in. You see this choice, right? Leadership can think short-term, they get paid by the stock market and their individual stock options going up, but the long-term value of the brand hurts. The good news is for McDonald's is they're not like other franchisors. Folks like Wendy's or Burger King don't have the same real estate moat that McDonald's has. A way for them to survive their own kind of self-inflicted wounds and recessions in a way that no other chain can. And to some extent, why you see McDonald's staying open, even while Burger King's and Wendy's are closing left and right. I did a Wendy's video on this channel.
Burger King completely crushes Wendy's. Burger King completely crushes Taco Bell. Burger King completely crushes McDonald's. Bro, the liquid smoke they use on their burgers, oh my God. Frame broiled Whoppers, man, they're so fucking good. And their fries are so fucking good. Oh my God. And their chicken fries, man, fuck me, I love Burger King, man. So good. And they're racist.
Check it out. But there's something else going on with McDonald's that's a huge benefit. And we'll see this with other companies on the channel too. 60% of their operating margins aren't coming from the US at all. They're coming from other countries. America is stumbling. The rest of the world is picking up the pieces. Thank you, global hungry for fast food people. Third, McDonald's has done some good executional things. Their loyalty program has some members coming back 26 times per year, whereas a typical customer might visit 10 times per year. You see this often with companies. They get off track because they forget their whole reason to exist and why they got popular in the first place. And here McDonald's basically shot their golden goose because they just kept making the same mistake over and over again in the 2000s, 3 times in fact. But the genius of the model, and one that applies to everybody's business, is if you can own the real estate around your business. It gives you so much more resiliency and options than if you had otherwise. And on my podcast, by the way, Acquisitions Anonymous, where we each week look at one business for sale. We see this story often, where somebody started buying a business, then they own the business, then they bought the real estate under it. Fast forward 20 years later, the business itself might be worth a couple $1,000,000, and the real estate underneath it is worth 10 million. Because unlike burger restaurants, the good Lord ain't creating any more real estate. It's a fixed amount. And here where you see McDonald's had the opportunity to own the land underneath their stores.
I wish every McDonald's looked like this, bro. Now it just looks like depressed and like somebody's gonna fucking shank you if you go in the parking lot. This shit used to look so nice. America looks so fucking ugly now, man. It used to have such style, but now it just looks like shit stops everywhere. Oh, to look more modern. You mean soulless? And it used to have such personality.
Create a level of resiliency that these other chains like Burger King and Wendy's just don't have. That's the story of why McDonald's is struggling so bad in the US. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you're planning on buying the real estate for your business.
That was a great fucking video, man. I really enjoyed that. Moral of the story, don't eat McDonald's. It's literally killing you slowly. Or in some people, very, very, very quickly. Don't eat that shit.